At one point or another, we all have to grow up, even sneakerheads. And for a sneakerhead, growing up might look a little bit different than from your normal head. For a sneakerhead, they might actually have to venture off and leave the realm of sneakers. In this video, I'm going to be talking about some other options in footwear that you can try out that are not considered sneakers. What up, Flame Gang? Baby Boy Flame here. Thank you for joining me. If you are new to the channel, my name is Baby Boy Flame. This channel is for streetwear, fashion, and sneaker related content. If you are an OG subscriber and already a part of the Flame Gang, my salute. Thank you for coming back. Guys, please hit like on this video and consider subscribing if you're into any of those aforementioned. So in this video, I will be discussing different types of footwear outside the sneaker. Lately, we've definitely seen a bit of a trend of people just getting put off by sneakers and gravitating away from them. And I see the reasoning behind it. You know, there's too much hassle in getting sneakers these days. You can't just buy a sneaker you want anymore. That's why in this video, we'll be talking about different footwear options outside of the sneaker. Really quick, what I would define as the sneaker would be lighter materials on the upper of the shoe and then more so a rubberized outsole. I know I mentioned growing up, but realistically, some of us are gonna wear sneakers for the rest of our lives. But if you were interested and curious in trying something new, I think these options would be great for you. Sidebar, most of these shoes I'm going to mention will actually add an inch or two to your height as well. So I think we could all use an extra inch or two on our height anyway. So that's why I love these options as well. I will be providing recommendations on every type of footwear. My recommendations are based kind of on price point and quality. So I know you can find cheaper options of everything I say, and I know you can find more expensive options of everything I recommend, but these are just my recommendations. If you know of any non-sneaker footwear, drop them in the comments below. I'm sure the Flame Gang would appreciate it, and I would love to see some of your recommendations because this is a team. It's the Flame Gang, you know what I mean? We're in this together. But let's get right into it. So the first non-sneaker shoe on my list is going to be the Loafers. You guys have heard me talk about loafers in the past. I have done a video on the Dr. Martens Adrian Tassel loafers. So if you guys want to check that out, you can click right up here. The loafers are really not limited to one style. There's a ton of different styles and options out there. You can have different things securing the vamp down, like a tassel. You can have a tassel loafer. You can have a penny loafer. You can have lugs on the loafer. You can have a thick midsole or a super paper thin midsole. It's really up to what you're into. I do like the loafers because a lot of the time they're going to come in a higher quality upper. Typically they're going to be leather or suede or something that has a type of break-in period, which is a good thing. The break-in period itself is tough, but once you have a shoe that is a higher quality that is broken in, it is top tier comfort. I also like this option because it's very low profile. You know, the loafer isn't doing too much. It's still extremely casual and chill. It gives off a smart look, but it's not super overdressed like you were wearing a shiny dress shoe. It just looks smart. You put together a great outfit and it goes really well with a lot of casual clothing. It just adds that little bit of elevation to your outfit. Loafers are usually in subtle colors and materials, so nothing is really popping that crazy, and it allows your outfit to speak a little bit more. I think this would be a great option if you are trying different things with clothing, because this is just a staple shoe. It's not going to do too much for your outfit, but it will look very clean. With that said, I think loafers pretty much go with every type of pant. I think they go especially well with jeans. A cuffed pair of old vintage blue jeans, I think that hits the mark perfectly. Two options I would recommend for the loafer. The GH Bass Weegin loafer, or the Weegins. Those are just a really classic, clean looking loafer. They retail for around $65 to $120 based on materials. Super classic option. And the second would be the Dr. Martens Adrian loafer. You guys have already seen me do a video on these. Super comfortable and just a great overall look with the chunkier midsole. Next up, we've got the Derby. And this is probably the classiest we will go. I know a lot of you out there might not be comfortable wearing this kind of shoe, especially if you're a sneakerhead, because it just reminds you of the dress shoe. I mean, it basically is. It maybe reminds you of going to church or having to go to prep school growing up. But I think what's being done to the Derby nowadays, it's really relevant and it really works with a lot of the styles that are out today. Believe it or not, I used to wear derbies every single day in high school. I had a pair of brown suede derbies with kind of a red midsole, and I beat them. I wore them every single day, and these shoes are surprisingly comfortable, and they really can kind of elevate your fit. The derby is also one of the most timeless silhouettes. I mean, this shoe has been around since forever. This was probably one of the first shoes that were ever made. This shoe is timeless, but I really like how in today's day and age, people are taking their own twist on the derby and making it look a lot more modern. Obviously, I don't want you to wear a suit with the derby. What I would recommend is dressing it down, maybe with a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. I think it really adds dimension to your outfit as far as having a really classy shoe, but then having a casual outfit. It kind of does a dope thing there. For the derby, I would actually opt away from a shinier leather. I think there are a lot of good options out there. I would just go a bit more subtle because it is gonna look a little funky if it's some crazy color or really shiny. It could look like clown shoes or like you're really overdressed. In this category, there are tons and tons of options for derbies. I would recommend two different derbies. The first one is the Dr. Martens 1461. This is just a great option because it has that Dr. Martens outsole and midsole that is super comfortable. It's called the Airwear Air Cushion, and it also has a lot of great materials. Honestly, I just trust Doc Martens. Docs just get the job done. The Doc Martens 1461 will run you around $200. It's worth the investment because the materials are really high quality. The second recommendation I would make is All Saints. Now these are going to be a bit more on the pricey end, but these definitely touch on that modern point I was talking about. They have very chunky midsoles and a really classic looking silhouette. The mixture of the two, I think these are just really cool shoes, and I think they would be a great investment. One other point about these shoes is that all of these shoes are higher quality materials and are worth investing in because they will break in and they will last a long time. A lot of sneakers cannot say the same. You know, you wear a sneaker for a couple years and it's going to be thrashed. A lot of the shoes I'm going to mention on this list are going to hold up for 10, maybe 20 years. All right, so we're going from the classiest option. Now we're going to go with the most casual option, and that is either the Clogs or the Mules. These are just the chillest option. It's basically a half shoe or a sandal without it being a sandal. Now there are tons of options out there. Even your favorite sneaker brands will have an option for a clog or a mule. You can stick with more synthetic materials if you're going for casual, or you can go for the kind of animal hide materials when you're going for a bit more quality. This is probably just the easiest way to wear slides outside of the house. That's why I threw it in here, but it also does elevate the fit a little bit. I got 3 recommendations for this one. The Adidas GSG Mule, which is around 160 bucks. That one is going to be your sportiest option. The second option would be the Birkenstock Super Birky. That one runs about $80, and that's the best for probably waterproof and not worrying about getting it beat up. And then my third option, of course, is the Birkenstock Boston. This is the most classic clog / mule. It's the best option for higher quality. That one will run you around 150 bucks. Next up, we're going in a bit of a different direction, and that is with the Clark Wallabees. I mentioned these in a video before, and I am a huge fan of the Clark Wallabees. This is probably my favorite option for a non-sneaker shoe. Clark Wallabees are made up of great materials with leather and suede. They range from all different types of colors and patterns. They have a ton of different collaborations, and they actually have really strong roots from 90s hip hop, believe it or not. I know the Wu-Tang Clan was a huge fan of wearing these, as well as Nas, and a lot of different other artists outside of hip hop as well. One thing about Clarks is they are also surprisingly comfortable. It looks like the Wallaby outsole is a specific type of rubber, but I can tell you firsthand from owning a pair, these are top tier comfort shoes. And I'm not just saying that. They are extremely comfortable. The mixture of that comfortable outsole and the high quality material upper, it's just a no-brainer for me. The Wallabees actually come in a lot of different collaborations as well. You saw them doing collabs with Aimee Leon Dore, they did a collab with Wu-Tang, they've done collabs with Stussy, really a lot of different collaborations floating around out there. The Clark Wallabees will run you around $200 to $150, but there are a ton of sales out there, just be on the lookout for those. I really think this is a good investment of your money though. These will last a long time and they look great. Next up, we've got boots, and the boots specifically I wanted to recommend were all from Doc Martens. Now I'm picturing it in my head. The first thing you think of when you think of Doc Martens boots are the hipster boots. And I totally agree with you. There was a huge wave back when I was in high school, and that really became the signature for the hipster. I think they've kind of, progressed past the hipster look though. I think they really do look good with every type of style. And Doc Martens really has a lot of different variations of the boots, not just those classic ones you think of when you think of hipsters. I think Doc Martens are a great option for boots because they are a great quality at a fair price. And again, they have that airwear, air cushioned outsole that's going to make them extremely comfortable. When it comes to comfort, it doesn't get more comfortable than a Doc Martens outsole. They break in and they just get so comfortable. Along with being super comfortable, there are also a ton of sales for different Doc Martens boots. So just be on the lookout for that. You can definitely save a lot of money. For the Docs, I would recommend their classic 1460 silhouette. I think it's a great looking boot with a lot of different colors, great materials, and again, that super comfortable outsole. Those will run you about 150 bucks. The last on my list is kind of a tri-part, and that's a couple different kinds of boots. Those are desert boots, chukka boots, and Chelsea boots. I kind of group these all together because they are a higher top boot with a slimmer fit. The desert and the chukka boot will just have laces, while the Chelsea will not. I think all of these have a pretty refined look. I mean, they all have a pretty grown look to them. I would recommend wearing any of these if you're going on a first date. If you're trying to impress someone and you're not trying to wear sneakers, I think these are all great options. These did kind of peak a couple years ago where there was kind of a big menswear craze where everyone was wearing suede Chelsea boots, ripped jeans, and a skin-tight t-shirt. I don't think that's the move anymore, but I don't think that look and that image in your head should discredit the Chelsea boot. I think that both the desert and the Chelsea boot still hold a lot of ground in today's kind of boot conversation, and these are a high quality boot for a relatively low price. With that being said, I would stay away from going with tighter fitting clothing with these boots. In my opinion, it's a bit tacky. But if that's your steez, if that's your style, definitely rock it. I'm not knocking it, I'm not rocking it. And again, Clogs is my favorite brand for some of these. They have a great Chelsea, chukka, and desert boot, as well as Doc Martens, who also has a great Chelsea boot. The Clogs desert boot's gonna run you about 150, and the Doc's 2976 Chelsea boot will also run you around 150 bucks. Well, that's pretty much it, Flame Gang. I know this is a little different from what we would usually touch on, but I did want to go a bit into shoes outside of sneakers, especially when we're hitting the colder months. It's harder to wear a sneaker outside, so some of these boots are going to be a great option. Again, if you guys have any recommendations for footwear outside of sneakers, drop them in the comments below. I would appreciate it if you dropped a like down below. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, but if you have, I love you, Flame Gang, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Stay fresh out there.